So this evening, I would like to share a story with you, an experience that I had and Yitzi had, like he was saying this week, and honestly, I felt a little weird. Like, what, I'm gonna tell everybody about an experience I had and a story, and it's about me and it's about us, what we did this weekend. But then I realized that first of all, I can say the story, and I can add a bunch of Torah into it. So at least it's the Var Torah. But also, as we go deeper, it's like, what is a story? What is storytelling? What is the storytelling of an experience? I think Reb Nachman says that the greatest thing in life is to tell a story. Reb Nachman was known for giving over stories all the time, and he said the goal in life is to tell stories, but one day we should tell our own story. That we should speak about ourselves, our own life, what we experience, what we see, what we heard, what we found in our own life. That is a story, aka that is a movie. That's a movie to be made. To draw a correlation to what I'm trying to talk about in a more realistic sense is the Chumash has 5 books. The whole first book and many other chapters, parshas, Bereshis, is all about storytelling. I don't think there's any halachas in there. There's no Torah in there. There's no mitzvahs in there. There's pru. It's all storytelling. Stories, and we're still in storytelling time. So what is a story? What is an experience? What is a life? This you could talk about about forever, but as we already know, when a person learns Torah, he learns. It's very nice. Those are all concepts and ideas found in a book, but when you step out into the real world with the power of Torah, with the knowledge of Torah, with the vision of Torah, then you can mamish experience that which is spoken about. So I'm going to share a story with you guys. I have to add, I don't know, this just happened, so I think it's very important. I'm going to add in right now, right as I left the house right now, I went to give a l'chaim to my wife and say goodnight to her and say see you later. And I said, give me a bracha that I do a good job tonight and I inspire a lot of people. So she says, don't worry, you're going to hit it out of the park. This is ready in the bag. Why? Because everybody knows that, I'm sorry to speak so much about myself, I'm sorry. She said that everybody already knows that, we know, she said, we know that you inspire out there, you do a good job. We know, it's known, you're gonna do a good job out there. So I said back to her, this is a common theme in our life, I said, one day I'll be able to bring that type of inspiration and love and all these other things that people always speak about me into the home, and I'll be able to bring it here. So I say to her, one day, and when I do that, you'll love me more than you already love me. So she said, no one loves you more than I love you. I love you unconditionally. So here's the punchline that I don't know, this is what I liked. So I came over to her, I said, I know you love me unconditionally. You've already proven that 1,000 times over and over every single day that we live together. You love me unconditionally. I want you also to love me conditionally. What does that mean to me? This all happened in a split second. As I'm driving, I'm like, wow, that was pretty deep, dude. And I'm trying to prepare like what I'm going to say to you, but if this story is just ringing in my head, like, I want to love you conditionally. What does that mean? I want to set conditions. What is a man's job? This is really all it gets you over here. It's better to be needed than be needy. A man's job is better to be needed than be needy. So, what does it mean? I want her to love me conditionally. It means, like, I was thinking about it in the sense of I want to set the condition, right? Your air conditioner, you set the mode, you set the tune, you set the environment. That why is she in love with me? Why is my kids in love with me? Because the conditions that I set. I made a beautiful atmosphere. I made a beautiful home. I made a beautiful environment. So I just want to share that one idea with you, and then we'll jump into the story. And at the end of this story, hopefully we can link it back to what I'm saying now, if we can remember that. This is what happens when you ask me to speak. I have a lot of ideas. Just start writing out. You hope you're writing this down. A bunch of ideas, and we'll try to cut some ideas. So as the story goes, L'chaim. L'chaim. Amen. So I want to tell a story. Where does the story begin? I don't know where to go back. It goes back infinite amount of years, but since we live in time and space, we'll just like pick out some spaces in time. It goes back to, you know, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday going on this trip with Yitzi and a few other guys on a Esha Torah trip, and Mike Esha Torah trip. In short, oh, what? The night just got fire. Okay, so for a few people here, this might be a little bit repetitive. I'm sorry, but we do something called chazara. We review things. To review something is amazing. Why? Because when you learn something infinite, when you touch into infinity, you could do it a million times. It doesn't end. The joy doesn't end. So we might retouch some subjects here. So where does the story start? The story starts from this 3-day journey that we went on, but really it starts from Shabbos, because Shabbos blesses everything, but really it blesses from Thursday night, from last Mishmar, and the time goes on. But let me just pick a point in time, right before I got married. Right before we got married, Chabad, I'm going to speak fast because I want to get a lot of days out. Chabad, one of the customs they have before they get married, they learn a discourse, they learn a maimer, they learn a deep thought given over by the Lubavitcher Rebbe, and it's called, the maimer is called Licha Daidi. Which is the song that we sing Friday night welcoming at Shabbos, and he goes on to deep thought. He goes on to the idea of about husband and wife, and he draws out a huge cardinal rule to Judaism, like an undenying rule, which is what? I'll explain it like this, and you'll hear this is the whole speech is about this. There's something called mashpia, and there's something called mekabel. In every single interaction in the world, there's always a giver and there's always a receiver. Man is personified by the giver, and woman, female, is personified by the receiver. But this happens in every teacher, student, and every boss, worker. This is throughout life. Right now, it's happening right now. And that's the gist of the Maimer. Within this discourse, he breaks down the idea, and we learned this, I think in Pergavus, I forget where we learned this. It says, from my teachers, I learned a lot. From my colleagues, I learned even more. But from my students, I learned the most. I gained the most. I received the most. What does that mean? The giver, the receiver, but if I'm the giver and this is the receiver, and he's telling me from my students, which are the receivers, I receive the most, now you're receiving, what's going on here? So the gist of this trip that we went on the last 3 days was about what they call, these are not my words, and I'll try to even make it even nicer, 20 men that know about the 613 mitzvahs, and 20 men that don't know yet about the 613 mitzvahs. And our goal is to create a beautiful environment, a fun and exciting, great time, mixed with Torah and chavrusas, where we can show us an unbelievable experience. And this I found out when I got there, pretty much. I'm like, oh, that's what we're doing here. So put away my joints. All right, never mind. I didn't. And as the journey started, Yitzi already mentioned, we did amazing fun activities here and there, but the soul, the heart of it was the chavrusa, the pairing up of different people. And I got paired up with a guy, and to be honest with you, he had this like totally messed up eye. It looked like someone knocked him out. Long story short, it was just a quick surgery. He's gonna be fine in a few days. And we start bonding, we start bringing, we start talking, we start learning, we start speaking, and the whole entire time I'm just like, obviously no expectations. Like I try to go to these events, no expectations. Whatever it is, it is. Whatever it's gonna be great because Hashem made it. If Hashem made it, obviously it's great. So I'm there and I'm having a great time with my chavrusa. We're getting all along, and the first day we have 2-day sessions, one-on-one. The first day we learned a little bit. It was great. We spoke. We went off track. And pretty much he told me like, wow, that's the most Torah I ever learned since I'm 15 years old. He's 64 years old now. When I tried to explain the difference between asay and lois asay, between positive and negative commandments, He's like, all right, so you got 5 on one, 5 on the other. I'm like, no, you got 248, 365, 613 total. He's like, whoa, hold on, what the? What are you talking about? 613? Am I getting 613? He's like, I thought there's only 10. Now you tell me 6. So in this way, it seems like he's receiving so much. But as I'm speaking, I'm also listening a lot, right? Hashem gives us 2 ears and 1 mouth. Listen more than you talk, which is so funny because I'm up here, yeah. And I'm listening to this guy. I'm listening to speak. In between, he kept saying, "Wow, so ironic. I didn't realize this till now." He kept saying, "I'm a storyteller. I'm a storyteller. I'm going to tell you a story." He kept telling me stories, little glimpses of his life, experiences that he had in his life that related to somehow the Shema. We literally broke down what a Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad means. That's it. That was the whole first day. The second day, they gave us a pamphlet. He's like, "Dude, forget about this pamphlet. I just want to talk to you." And he's giving me little glimpses of life, and I just want to share his life with you from what I gained from 6 different stories. So he tells me that he's a 7th generation sheikhet. For 7 generations, his father has been sheikhtim since Lodge or Luge, whatever you call it in wherever it is, Poland, Ukraine, Poland, yeah. And we're like, okay, so what do you do now? And he's like, I'm in the food business. So I say, what do you do? So he says, I used to supply all the prep food for Taco Bell. So I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool. By the way, he told me these stories in different orders. I'm just telling you it in order so you can see how it flowed, but he didn't tell me like this. And pretty much at 39 years old, he was winning it. He was doing amazing. He was doing an amazing job. But unfortunately, his wife, and he had 4 kids, got cancer. And they started to go to one doctor, another doctor, and she was in cancer situation for 10 years. And rewind before the 10 years, within the 10 years, he decided, he said, I think what I remember, 39 years old, he decided, I can't do this anymore. I can't balance everything that's on my plate. I need to sell my company, and I need to go commit 100% to my wife and to my children. I need to become the mom. I need to become the husband. I need to become the father. I need to become whatever I need to become just to be there for my family. And that's what he did. He sold his company, and he full head on with his family, literally becoming the mom. The mom, specifically the mom, the receiver. Keep that in mind. And after 10 years of hardships and struggle, he lost his wife. And this whole entire time, he's very emotional to me. Obviously, he stuck with the kids, and till all the kids moved out of the house, his last kid just moved, I don't know, in college here, college there, job here, job there. He's 64, like I said, all his kids are in the house now. He decided 3 years ago or 5 years ago, I forget right now exactly the amount, he decided I need to get back into work. I never stopped working. He's like, people think I didn't have a job for the last 10 years, but I've been working every single day. I wake up early in the morning, I go to sleep late at night. What's my job? Family. That's my job. I was the pee-wee dad, I was a soccer mom, I was the minivan, I did everything I needed to do. But now his kids are out of the house, so he's like, all right. So he goes, looks at his company that he sold, and he realizes the corporation is messing up totally, and he bought it back. He bought back the company. I'm guessing, he didn't say these words, I'm just embellishing. I'm guessing he bought it back at a lower price than he sold it for. And after 3 years of working there, or 4 years of working there, he decided, I don't want to do this anymore. This is not for me. He built it back up to its prime, to where its glory, where it's supposed to be. And he sold it again for the second time. Why? Because he said, I want to continue to be mom. I want to continue being dad. I want to continue, even though my kids don't live at home, I want to take care of anything they need wherever they are. I want to go on a hike for 3 hours a day. I want to live life. I don't want to be caught up in this day-to-day job. What's my job? Being a dad. So this is the story he shares with me. This is the story he shares with me. Now I share with him at one moment, I'm like, dude, I gotta share a story with you. This is amazing you're saying this. A few weeks ago, l'chaim guys. I got like 10 minutes, right? 4 minutes? A few weeks ago, you writing these points down?
We're recording it.
Yo, the shoe's in the way, dude. It's right. I'm just
The shoes are gonna get on fire. Forget that.
It's an audio. So I told him a few weeks ago I shared with Yitzi and a few other guys a beautiful Devar Torah that I heard from Yossi Jacobson that was from the Lubavitcher Rebbe, and it goes as follows. In Parshas Vayera, I think it says that Vayera Hashem appeared to Avram. Hashem appeared to Avram. What does Rashi state? Someone can look it up if they want to. What does Rashi state? Rashi says Zeh ha'avot. These are the avos. These are the patriarchs. So the Rebbe asked a klutz kasha, like a simple like no duh question. We've been learning about the avos for the last who knows how many parshas, for the last 10, 15 parshas, whatever it is, 10 parshas, I don't know how many parshas there were. Rashi's coming to tell me, Zeh avos, these are the avos, these are the patriarchs. We know that. And if you don't know that, forget about you weren't paying attention. It's beyond obvious who Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov are. I told this to this guy. So the Rebbe asked, based on Rashi, this is a Rashi vart. This is a Rashi vart, but the Rebbe brought it out. How can it be that we don't know who the Avos are? So Rebbe says, no. Rashi's not telling you these are the Avos. We already know that. What is he telling you? He's telling you a novelty. He's telling you, Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov, they could have got any nickname. Part of our trip, one of the biggest things were, and it's very deep, we don't have time for it, but it says there's a name that you're given when you're born. There's a name that you get nicknamed from friends, and there's a name that you make for yourself, right? That you owned. So, when it comes to the Avos, everybody has nicknames. Look at the rap world, look at the acting world. Everybody has a nickname, a stage name. It's all about nicknames. Where do they get it from? They get it from Torah. Avram Avinu, Yosef HaTzadik, Shimon Shmuel HaNasi, Hanabi. We all give nicknames to everything. Rabba, Rava. These are not their real names. These are all nicknames. They're all about the nicknames. Everything is sourced back into Torah. So Rashi was saying, the Rebbe says, what is Rashi saying? Who are the Avos? Who was Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov? They could have been called anything. They could have been called Merkava, chariots. They could have been called, Avram could have been called Chesed, Yitzchak, Gevura, Yaakov, meaning these guys channeled unbelievable energies of God, and they could have acquired any name. What is the name that Rashi gives them? Rashi. We don't know who Rashi is. I don't have to go into detail who Rashi is. Or maybe I do, but we'll talk about it later. What does Rashi say? What is their biggest accomplishments? What's the title we're going to give to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob? What are the title we're going to give to them? Ha'avos. They're a dad. They're a father. The biggest accomplishment in life is to be a father, to be a dad. And this is what Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov teach us. Not to be a Navi, not to be a tzaddik, not to be this. Be a avos, be a dad. Just be a good dad. And I'm listening to this Devar Torah a few weeks ago, and it really hit home. But now I'm looking at a living example in front of me who doesn't even know about 613 mitzvahs, but yet he's mamish and avos. And you're telling me I'm the giver, he's the receiver? What are you, shmenderik? He's living Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov. Who am I? I'm Reb Yisrael. Baruch Hashem, I'm Reb Yisrael. He's a avos. He's a dad. Is saying that it could have been the century of the year, the last 100 years, who's the most influential man in the world? It was Albert Einstein. It was between two people, Hitler and Albert Einstein. Thank God they chose Albert Einstein. But if you ask any of his children, Baruch Hashem, thank God, I don't know if this makes sense, I actually watched a little TV, like 5-6 episode movie about Albert Einstein. Where at first I was upset, how can I watch TV? Now I know I watch TV. Now I can say this with confidence. Is that if you ask Time magazine who is the most influential man of the last 100 years, Albert Einstein. Go over to his children and ask him, how is your dad? They hated him. He was the worst dad. So just because you could be influential doesn't mean you're an avos, you're a dad. What is Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov known for? Yeah, Avram gave up his life, threw in a fire. Yitzchak gave up his life. They did amazing things, but what are they known for? Being avos. And we can talk about this forever. Avram has stories about Yishmael. After he kicked him out, there's stories about how he went to go visit him every 5 years. After he banished his son, he went to go visit him. He's a dad. He cared. He gave him advice. So I'm forgetting a lot of things, but I'm gonna wrap it up, kind of. I'll wrap it up now. Is that giver, receiver, giver. For my students, I learned the most. I would say that if we're able to have this meditation to like close your eyes and Shema, to listen a little bit and really Bishvili Nivra Olam, the whole world is created for me, and to like listen to the experiences that are going around in life, 2 ears, one mouth, to hear what's going on. It's a story being told for us. And the irony of this whole entire thing is that he's praising me how great I enlightened him, and I'm thinking, little as you know, my biggest, I have to say, this is vulnerability, now we're turning into the MISHMAR right now, my biggest flaw or thing that I need to work on in life is the wife and the children. I'm really good outside. I'm okay inside, but I could do much better inside. And this guy sitting there in front of me telling me a story about his life, I'm like, dude, that's exactly what I need to hear. I need to hear the story. I need to learn this moment in life. And I'm only learning it from here right now. And he's going on, you taught me so much. Since I'm 15 years old, I haven't. What do we know? And I think this concept, if it's making sense at all to you, I don't know, brother, I was going to open it with this. I don't know what the heck I'm doing. I don't know what the heck I'm doing, but I can tell you that giver, receiver, giver, we're here to learn, we're here to give, we're here to receive. We have to open up our eyes, we have to open up our hearts, we have to open up our ears and see these stories. And all of this concept can be applied who? To our wife. Our wife, she's the receiver. Yet it says that Hashem told Avram, listen to everything your wife, the voice of your wife. Everything she says, you listen to. And your children are the biggest receivers of dad. But yet, you should be there to listen to everything they have to say. You should receive from them. What does it mean to receive from your children? What does it mean to receive from your wife? That means you should create a space for them to thrive. Where you're like, I'm here for you. I'm receiving you in my arms right now. Does that make sense? And I end off, I think, with this last one sentence, but I really want to say a lot more. Is that, why is this so important, and why is this so halakha, why is this so holy? Because this is an expression, this is a representation, this is a manifestation of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, of Hashem. Because who's Hashem? Hashem literally created space for all of us. That's Hashem. I don't want to get in a fight right now, but Hashem does not need you. He does not need you. But yet He created a makom, a space where you're alive, and you have a brain, and you have a heart, and you have life. And what do? We just complain all day to Hashem, and He listens, He hears it. He hears it. Sometimes He says yes, sometimes He says not now, sometimes I have something better in store for you. But He's just listening, He's just receiving. How much? I think that's been a hapich of life. That's a twist of life. That one will come to a point in life when we say, listen, I'm not requesting anymore. I'm going to listen to your request. Because that's the emes in life. Why should I be requesting all the time? Let me listen to your request. And then with that being said, he should listen to all requests. We should listen to our wife requests. And thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to speak, because I am so inspired.